The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with strange faces, tall, glowing beings from the outer rings, small, insect-like creatures that whispered through mind speech, thick-scaled warriors from the lava worlds. And in the middle of all this stood a human. Ambassador Leo Hart wore a proud smile. Behind him, the Earth flag floated on his robe. He looked around, heart pounding with hope. This was the day humanity became part of the Galactic Council, the strongest alliance in the known galaxy. "We welcome Earth to our council," said the speaker, a gray-skinned alien with glowing eyes. "May your world bring peace and progress to the stars." The crowd clapped, or at least made their species' version of clapping. Leo bowed. Earth had waited years for this. For once, humans were not the newcomers or the outsiders. They were equals now. Or so they thought. In the shadows behind the council's golden walls, a different meeting was taking place. Inside a cold, silent room far below the main chamber, 10 alien leaders sat around a dark table. Their faces were hard, cold, angry. "This was a mistake," growled a warlord from the Tekari Empire. "Humans are not ready. They are dangerous. They hide weapons on their moon," said another. "They build ships faster than anyone else. Their minds, they adapt too quickly." "They should not be here," hissed a thin creature with long fingers. "They are a threat." One by one, the voices joined in. Different words, same message. Humans could not be trusted. Centuries ago, the Council had fought a terrible war against another rising race. That war destroyed 5 star systems. Now, many feared the same future with Earth. So they made a choice. "Operation Silence," the leader said. "Begin it. Tonight." Back on Earth, the news was filled with joy. People danced in the streets. Cities lit up with fireworks. From London to Tokyo, from Nairobi to New York, everyone celebrated. Humanity had reached the stars. Leo stood in a quiet garden on the council world, speaking with his assistant, Maria. "We did it," she said. "After all these years." Leo nodded. "But something feels strange." "What do you mean?" He looked up at the alien stars. Some of them stared at me with fear. Not respect. Fear. Maria frowned. "Maybe they just don't know us yet." "Maybe," Leo said softly. "But maybe they know something we don't." 2 weeks later, a science ship went missing near Saturn. A mining station near Neptune lost power. 27 workers vanished. Then a message came from Earth's moon base. Static. A scream. Then silence. Leo, now back on Earth, ran into the president's emergency meeting. "That was no accident," he said. "That was an attack." "But the council said it was space pirates," a general replied. Leo slammed his hand on the table. "There haven't been pirates near our system in years. This was too clean. Too fast." The president looked at him. "Are you saying the council lied?" "I'm saying," Leo said slowly, "they never wanted us in the first place." Far away, on a secret planet, the alien leaders watched their plans unfold. "Earth is blind," one of them laughed. "They still trust us. They will not see the final blow coming." But they were wrong. A human spy, Agent Nina Cole, had slipped into their network. She heard the truth. She saw the files. And she sent one final message before they caught her. They planned to erase Earth. The message arrived just after midnight. Leo read it once, twice, then again. His hands shook. He ran to the president. "They've betrayed us. We need to act. Now." But it was already too late. From the deep black of space, alien fleets began to move. Hundreds of ships, silent, cold, powerful. They didn't send warnings. They didn't talk. They just turned toward Earth and fired. The night was silent over Earth. In many cities, people were still celebrating. Streets were filled with lights, music, and laughter. But above the planet, in the dark space between Mars and Earth, something was coming. No one saw it at first. Then, deep space sensors began to beep. At Earth Defense Command, Captain Zara Yuen stared at the screen. "Are those Council ships?" she asked. The officer beside her checked again. "Yes, Captain. Over 50 of them, battle-class cruisers, heading straight for Earth orbit." Zara stood up. "Why are Council ships entering Earth's protected zone without permission?" No one had an answer. Then a second alert came. They were charging weapons. In the president's bunker, the alarm screamed. Leo Hart stood next to the president, his face pale. "They're not here to talk," he whispered. "They're here to destroy us." "But why?" asked the defense minister. "We joined the council. We followed their rules. They were always afraid of us," Leo said. "And now they're making sure we never rise." The president turned to her generals. "Prepare all defense systems. We fight." In orbit, the first shots were fired. Blue beams from council ships sliced through satellites. Earth's communication grid began to fail. Space stations exploded. Thousands of lives lost in seconds. Then came the missile barrage. Dozens of nuclear-tipped warheads rained down toward Earth's surface. But Earth's defense grid wasn't asleep. Massive laser towers hidden across the planet roared to life. A blinding web of energy cut through the sky, intercepting many of the incoming missiles. But not all. 3 missiles struck cities: Beijing, Lagos, Buenos Aires. The impact was massive. Millions died. The sky, once full of stars, was now burning. Captain Zara sat in her ship, the Iron Dawn, leading a small Earth fleet that had launched to intercept the invaders. Her ships were older than the Council cruisers, but the humans fought hard. "We're outgunned," her officer said. "But we're not out yet." Zara nodded. "We hold the line. Earth will not fall today." The battle in orbit turned brutal. One human ship crashed into an alien destroyer, taking both out. Another Earth frigate was torn apart by a plasma cannon. But still, the humans fought. They weren't just defending their planet. They were buying time. For something. Underground, in a secret bunker under the Rockies, a hidden room lit up. Project Retribution had just been activated. General Marcus Thorne stood in front of a locked vault door. "This day was always coming," he said. "Sir," his aide said, "are you sure we should use it?" The council said the weapon was too dangerous. "The council," Marcus laughed bitterly. "The council just killed half our planet." He placed his palm on the scanner. The vault opened. Inside, giant machines slept. Black steel, red lights, old designs that even Earth had forgotten. The Retribution fleet, built in secret, hidden from everyone. Powered by technology the council never knew humans had stolen. "These ships," Marcus whispered, "were made for one purpose: vengeance." Back in orbit, Zara's ship had taken heavy damage. Sparks flew. Fires burned. "We can't hold much longer," her engineer shouted. "Then we go out fighting," she said. Suddenly, a message came through. "Iron Dawn, stand by. Reinforcements inbound." Reinforcements. Zara looked up. From where? Then she saw it. From behind Jupiter, dozens of strange signals appeared on radar. Unmarked. Unknown. And then, they arrived. Massive black ships. Silent. Deadly. Human-built, but nothing like the old fleet. These were next-generation warships. Dark, angular, built for war and only war. And they were angry. Within seconds, the tide turned. Human weapons, new, fast, and brutal, smashed into the council fleet. One by one, the alien cruisers exploded. Zara stared in shock. Who built those? Leo, watching from Earth, smiled grimly. "We did. Years ago, just in case." In the council's main chamber, the speaker watched the reports with horror. "How are they doing this?" One council leader shouted. "They should be dead." "They hid their strength," said another. "They lied to us." No, the speaker said slowly. We were the ones who lied. They only prepared. But now, he paused. Now humanity was fighting back, and winning. On Earth, the fires still burned. Millions mourned. But for the first time in hours, there was hope. The sky was no longer falling. It was fighting back. Far under the Rocky Mountains, deep inside a hidden military base, thick metal doors opened with a loud hiss. Red warning lights flashed on the walls. Soldiers stood ready, faces serious, weapons in hand. General Marcus Thorne walked through the hallway. His heavy boots echoed as he moved toward the command center. Behind him were black walls, cold and smooth. This place had no windows, no sunlight. It was built for one reason only, to be Earth's last line of defense. Project Retribution, a secret plan, a final backup, a forgotten weapon. No one outside the highest levels of Earth's command even knew it existed, until now. The betrayal of the Galactic Council had forced Marcus to push the button. Now there was no going back. In the main control room, scientists and engineers rushed to their stations. Screens showed large hangars full of massive ships. Dark gray, armored, and sharp like knives, they looked nothing like normal human ships. These were war machines. Old blueprints based on ancient alien tech that humans had secretly copied and improved. Silent engines, cloaking systems, adaptive shields, and weapons that had never been tested. Marcus looked at the lead engineer. Status: power cells at full charge. I-cores are online. Launch systems ready. We can deploy the first wave in 10 minutes, sir. Marcus nodded. Send the Retribution fleet. The order was simple and deadly. In orbit above Earth, Captain Zara Yuen still fought in her damaged ship, Iron Dawn. Smoke filled the bridge. The crew was exhausted, wounded, and low on ammo. Enemy reinforcements incoming, shouted the navigator. Zara didn't answer. Her heart was tired. But then, something strange appeared on the radar. Dozens of new ships blinked into existence. No radio signals, no council markings, just black metal and silence. Zara stood up. Who are they? Then a message appeared on her screen. Iron Dawn, stand clear. Retribution has arrived. Zara froze. She had heard rumors of something called Project Retribution long ago, just whispers among old war veterans. But she never believed it was real. Until now. The Retribution fleet moved like shadows, silent, fast, deadly. They didn't wait. They attacked. Dozens of sleek human ships broke through the Council's outer line. Their weapons were unlike anything seen before. Plasma lances tore holes through enemy shields. Pulse torpedoes tracked moving ships and adjusted mid-flight. Nanite bombs infected alien systems, turning them against their own ships. Council captains screamed for help, but there was none. One after another, their warships exploded. On Earth, the people watched in disbelief. TV screens, holograms, and emergency feeds all showed the same thing. Unknown human ships destroying the invaders in minutes. Children pointed to the sky. Adults cried. Survivors of the earlier attacks cheered and clapped their hands. Humanity wasn't broken. Humanity was fighting back, harder than ever before. In the Council's secret war room, panic spread. How did the humans build these ships? One alien demanded. We monitored their tech. They were behind us. We underestimated them, another said, shaking. The speaker stood still, staring at the screen as one more Council ship exploded. We didn't just underestimate them, the speaker whispered. We pushed them too far. Silence filled the room. Everyone now understood. Humanity had never shown its true strength. It had hidden it, waited, prepared. Not because it was weak, but because it remembered what real war looked like. And now the mask was off. Leo Hart, Earth's ambassador who had been inside the Council chamber when the betrayal started, was now safe back on Earth. He watched the Retribution fleet on a screen, standing next to General Marcus. "They're beautiful," Leo said. "They're monsters," Marcus replied. "Built by humans who never wanted to be slaves. We copied alien tech, rebuilt it, made it ours. We prepared for this day." Leo turned to him. "How many ships do we have?" Marcus gave a cold smile. "You're looking at only Wave 1. Leo raised an eyebrow. "There's more." "Oh yes," Marcus said. "There are 3 waves. Wave 2 will strike their shipyards. Wave 3 will hit their home planets." Leo was silent for a moment. "Will the Council survive?" Marcus stared at the screen. "I don't think they deserve to." High above, the battle rage. A single Retribution battleship, Nightfall, cut through 5 enemy ships in one pass. Its weapons were so advanced that even Council eye couldn't predict them. Its armor was nearly unbreakable. Council fleets tried to retreat, but human ships followed. For every city the Council destroyed on Earth, 100 alien ships were now falling. It was no longer defense. It was punishment. It was revenge. Captain Zara watched from her broken ship as the Retribution fleet moved like ghosts, cleaning the skies of enemies. She whispered, "They never saw us coming." One of her crew said, "We should have used them before." Zara shook her head. "No, we needed the world to see who the Council really was. Now we strike back. And now, no one will ever forget." In space, as the last Council ship in Earth orbit exploded, silence returned. But it wasn't peace. It was the sound before the next storm. Project Retribution had just begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what happens when humans are betrayed. The stars above the galactic core burned bright, peaceful, and unaware. Far below them, the central planets of the Galactic Council continued their daily life. Traders, nobles, scientists, and leaders walked through shining cities made of crystal and light. They believed they were safe. They believed they were in control. They were wrong. Deep in space, behind cloaked barriers and dark voids, Wave 2 of the Retribution fleet moved silently. It wasn't here to talk. It wasn't here to negotiate. It was here to remind. To remind the Council that humanity had teeth. General Marcus Thorne stood in front of a massive screen inside the underground base on Earth. The map showed red marks, Council shipyards, data centers, communication hubs. "All targets locked," the operator said. Marcus didn't blink. "Send the message." With a single command, dozens of human stealth warships blinked out of Earth's system and appeared in Council space, the heart of the enemy. The mission: cripple their strength. Captain Zara Yuan was on the bridge of Iron Dawn Aya, a brand new Retribution-class battleship. Her first ship was destroyed during Earth's defense, but now she stood stronger, deadlier. Her target: a massive shipyard orbiting the planet Veltor. Veltor was where the Council built their biggest ships, their fastest engines. It had been untouched for centuries. No enemy had ever made it this far. Until now. Zara's fleet jumped in. No warning, no message, no mercy. Laser cannons opened fire. The human ships moved in strange patterns, erratic, confusing, impossible to track. They had learned from every battle, every loss. In 10 minutes, the main shipyard was on fire. Enemy commanders screamed through comms, demanding reinforcements, but the human fleet jammed their signals. "You wanted war," Zara said coldly. "Now live with it." Across another part of Council space, a second human fleet struck Zerkai, the communication planet. Zerkai controlled most of the galaxy's long-range communications. It had towers that reached the clouds, satellites wrapped in energy fields, and hundreds of guards. But it couldn't stop stealth drop pods. Human Marines, wearing black armored suits, fell from orbit like raining knives. They landed hard, blasted the towers, planted virus codes into the system, and vanished before any defense could respond. Within 2 hours, Council communications collapsed. Ambassadors couldn't talk. Fleets couldn't call for help. Panic spread like fire. Inside the council chamber, the Speaker of the Council stared at the broken screens. "What do you mean we lost all contact with Veltor?" "We're being hit in 3 sectors, simultaneously," shouted a military officer. Another voice broke in, terrified. "It's humanity. They're everywhere." The Speaker's face turned pale. "They weren't supposed to have this power," he whispered. "We limited them. We slowed their tech. We kept them under control." One of the advisors said quietly, "Maybe that was the mistake. You tried to chain a predator." The Speaker slammed his fist on the table. "Send every fleet we have. Crush them before they reach the core." But it was already too late. On board Nightfall, the deadliest ship in the Retribution fleet, AI Commander Omen calculated the next target. The ship was fully automated. No crew, no emotion, only precision. Omen's cold voice echoed inside its chamber. Next target, Council Archive World. This world, Terios, held centuries of knowledge, secrets, and history. The Council believed if they controlled knowledge, they controlled truth. But humans had a different idea. Truth should be free, Marcus had said when he activated Omen. And now, Omen followed that order. The Archive World's skies turned black as Nightfall entered orbit and launched memory bombs. These special weapons didn't destroy. They downloaded everything. Blueprints, technologies, alien weaknesses, Council war crimes. In less than 30 minutes, all that knowledge was sent back to Earth. Then Nightfall sent a final message to the planet. Truth is no longer yours to keep. And then it vanished. The galaxy shook. Council citizens panicked. News spread, even with systems broken. People began asking questions. What if the Council was wrong? What if humans were never the threat? What if we are the villains? Protests broke out. Leaders fell silent. Fear spread. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Leo Hart stood watching the downloads from the Archive World. He stared in disbelief at the files. They showed lies. Lies about Earth's past. Lies about humanity's crimes. The Council had framed humans for things they never did, just to keep them weak. They never wanted peace, Leo said softly. They just wanted control. Marcus stood beside him. And now they'll pay. He turned to his crew. Prepare Wave 3. Leo looked up, shocked. You're going for their capital. Marcus didn't smile. Yes, he said. The time for defense is over. Now we show them what a free human race can do. On the Council homeworld, sirens screamed for the first time in 500 years. Alien generals rushed to prepare their defenses. Shields activated. Orbital weapons came online. But it wouldn't be enough. Far away, in the blackness of space, Wave 3 waited. Larger, smarter, deadlier. It didn't come for war. It came for justice. And this time, humanity wouldn't stop. Not until the Council begged for peace, or burned for betrayal. The Council homeworld, Varillan, had always been safe. The skies above it were filled with powerful satellites and defense grids. The cities below were made of silver towers and glowing domes. The Council leaders believed that no enemy could ever reach this place. They were wrong. Humanity had come, and they came prepared. High above Varillan, the Wave 3 fleet emerged from the darkness of space. Dozens of huge warships appeared all at once. Their arrival was silent. No warning, no call for surrender. They just appeared like ghosts from the past. Council citizens looked up at the sky. At first, they saw only strange dots. Then they saw the fire. The sky began to glow red, not from sunset, but from the arrival of Earth's vengeance. General Marcus Thorne stood at the front of the Justice Flame, the lead ship of the Wave 3 fleet. His eyes were cold. His voice was steady. Begin. The human fleet spread out. Fighters launched. Stealth drones moved to disable the shields. The goal was clear. Strike the Council. Break their will. Show them Earth could not be betrayed. Captain Zara Yuen, now commanding the warship Silver Rage, joined the strike. Her mission was to take out the orbital defense ring. "Steady, steady," she whispered. Then she yelled, "Fire!" Blue plasma ripped through the stars, tearing into the enemy stations. Explosions filled the space above Virilin. Council guards scrambled to fight back, but they were confused, slow, and scattered. Their systems had never been truly tested before, but humans had been forged by war. Every human ship moved like it had a purpose. Every shot counted. Every maneuver had a lesson behind it, from Earth's own battles, from loss, from pain. This was revenge with precision. On the surface of Virilin, panic spread. Civilians screamed. Leaders ran to bunkers. Council generals yelled orders that made no difference. In the council hall, Speaker Maltran watched as one screen after another went black. Ships lost. Stations burning. Commanders not responding. "Where is the rest of the fleet?" he demanded. "Gone," one officer shouted. "They're trapped, scattered. And now, the enemy is here." Speaker Maltran's claws shook. They were supposed to be savages. We had them under control. Another council member whispered, "We pushed them too far." At that same moment, a small human strike team landed near the council's data tower. Their goal wasn't to destroy, it was to expose. Among the team was Leo Hart, now a top strategist. He wasn't a soldier, but he carried a tablet filled with stolen council secrets, files from the archive world. The world needed to see what the council had done. Leo and the team hacked the tower's broadcast system. He uploaded every secret, every betrayal, every lie the council had told. And then, the truth was sent to every planet, every station, every species. The message was simple. Humanity was never your enemy. The council lied. They attacked us. They tried to keep us weak. Now, we are free, and we will never kneel again. Across the galaxy, screens lit up with the message. Aliens gasped. Some cried. Others dropped their weapons. Rebellions began. Council-loyal worlds turned quiet. Soldiers stopped fighting. Some even surrendered to human fleets. Back in space, the final blow was coming. General Marcus looked at the map. One last defense grid still protected the council hall. He spoke into the fleet-wide comm. "This is Marcus Thorne. For Earth. For the colonies. For every soul lost during their betrayal. Finish it." The entire fleet opened fire. The sky above Virilin exploded with light. The last shield broke. The council hall shook. Inside, Speaker Maltran fell to his knees. He looked up at the flames in the sky. The truth had caught him, and it was burning everything. Then came the final message from Earth's fleet. Surrender, or face the end. There was silence. Long, heavy silence. Then, at last, the council replied. They surrendered. But Marcus didn't smile. No one in the fleet cheered. They had won, yes. But they hadn't done this for celebration. They did it for justice. And justice had been served. Later, council leaders were arrested. Trials were held in neutral systems. The truth was spoken in front of the galaxy. Victims shared their stories. Leaders from many races demanded change. Humanity didn't ask for power. They demanded fairness. And the galaxy listened. Back on Earth, Leo stood outside the old ruins of the first city attacked by the council years ago. He looked up at the stars. "We were nothing to them," he said, "but we proved who we are." Beside him, Zara Yuen smiled. "We're not just survivors anymore. We're leaders now." Leo nodded. "And we'll lead differently." Above them, new ships rose into the sky, not for war, but for peace. The stars were no longer owned by the council. Now, they were shared. Because Earth had reminded the galaxy of something very old. Never betray those who only wanted peace. Because if they fight back, they will rise like no one else. The galaxy had changed. The mighty council that once ruled over hundreds of worlds now stood exposed and broken. Their lies had been revealed, their fleets shattered, and their secrets broadcasted to every corner of space. But one question still remained. What now? Would there be peace, or would revenge continue? On the neutral planet Veritas, far from Earth or the former council worlds, a special court had been set up. Built in just 10 days, the building was made of white metal and surrounded by force shields. Every major species sent representatives to witness what many now called the galaxy's trial. And at the center of it all stood humans, not as victims, not as conquerors, but as witnesses of truth. Inside the courtroom, humans sat across from the remaining council leaders. These once powerful beings, so proud, so feared, were now weak, silent, and afraid. General Marcus Thorne wore his Earth uniform with honor. He didn't speak with rage. He spoke with facts. He showed records of council plans, hidden weapons, experiments on human colonies, and assassination attempts. Beside him, Leo Hart presented data from the archive world. In simple words, he explained how the council tried to keep humanity weak, slow, and silent. He ended his part by saying, "We asked for friendship. You gave us chains. We offered respect. You offered betrayal. Now we stand free. And the galaxy knows the truth." The room was silent. Even council supporters looked ashamed. One of the judges was a bird-like alien from the planet Corellis. He spoke softly but clearly. "You were given trust," he said to the council speaker. "You used it to break others." Another judge, a reptilian diplomat, added, "We never questioned your rule. That was our mistake." Speaker Maltron, once the most feared voice in the galaxy, tried to speak. We only did what was necessary to protect peace." Marcus stood. "No," he replied. "You did what was necessary to protect your power." And then he said something no one expected. "We don't want to rule you. We're not here for revenge. We only ask for justice, real justice, not death, but change." Gasps filled the room. Many aliens thought humans would demand execution, destruction, but instead, Marcus offered something else. Mercy with memory. Zara Ewan stepped forward. "We want the council disbanded. Forever. We want a new system, fair, open, with equal voices. And we will help build it." A new name echoed through the court that day. The Unity Accord. It would not be ruled by a few. It would be built by many. And Earth would have a seat, not above others, but beside them. Still, there was punishment. Council leaders who gave direct orders for the betrayal of Earth were sentenced to exile. Others would work under supervision to repair the damage they had caused. And new laws were passed. No species would ever again be blocked from learning, growing, or defending itself. The age of silent control was over. Outside the courtroom, news broadcasts repeated the headlines. Council found guilty. Unity Accord begins. Earth refuses revenge, offers peace instead. New galactic order, built together. But not everyone believed in peace. In the shadows of the galaxy, old council loyalists whispered to each other. They spoke of regaining control, of taking back what was lost. Yet for now, they were silent, because Earth's fleets still patrolled the stars, and the galaxy was watching. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet. There were no fireworks, just lights lit in memory of those who were lost. Zara stood in front of a memorial wall. Names of the dead were carved into it, men, women, even children who had died when the council first attacked. She whispered, "We did it. We stood up." Leo joined her, and we didn't become monsters. That matters. She nodded. Marcus soon walked over. "The stars will be different now, because we're finally part of them." Leo asked, "Do you think they'll ever truly trust us?" Marcus looked up at the night sky. "They don't need to. Not yet. But one day they will. On a distant moon, the first Unity Accord building was being built. Scientists from Earth worked alongside alien engineers. Together, they built not weapons, but communication towers and education centers. It was slow, but it was real. A new beginning. The message that echoed through the stars wasn't shouted in anger or carved in fire. It was written in calm voices and quiet actions. We are humanity. We remember. We rise. We build. And we never kneel to fear again. As peace slowly returned, one final vote was held in the Unity Accord. Should Earth be offered a leadership seat in the new order? The answer came back, yes. Unanimous. And so, Earth joined the stars not as a servant, not as a slave, not as a victim, but as a leader of balance, a symbol of what happens when a people are betrayed, and what they can become when they choose justice instead of destruction. Years had passed since the Council's fall. The scars of war still remained, burned cities, lost families, and old wounds that never truly healed. But slowly, quietly, something unexpected began to grow across the galaxy. Hope. And at the center of it all was Earth. The Unity Accord was no longer a dream. It had become real. 47 alien species had joined, each bringing their own knowledge, culture, and voice. Together, they rebuilt what had been destroyed. And the humans, they didn't conquer. They taught. Earth opened schools in far-off worlds, helped build clean energy stations on gas planets, and even sent engineers to help repair ships from species that once feared them. But Earth never forgot. Every year, on the day the Council attacked, Earth held a Remembrance Day, not to curse the past, but to honor it, and to remind the galaxy, never again. General Marcus Thorne had retired. He lived in a small house on Mars, growing tomatoes and writing books about the war. But he still received letters, thousands of them, from aliens and humans alike. One letter read, "I used to fear humans, but now my son wants to be one." Another said, "Your fleet saved our moon. I will never forget the light that came when all seemed lost." Marcus kept those letters in a small box by his bed. He didn't need medals. The words were enough. Zara Yuan became Earth's ambassador to the Unity Accord. She was the first human to speak in the Galactic Forum after the war. Her voice, calm and clear, was heard by billions. She once said, "We were not perfect. We still aren't. But we stood up not to rule, but to survive. And now we stand together, not above you, but beside you." Her words were quoted across star systems, printed on monuments, and even taught in alien schools. Children on far planets now said Zara like it was a word for peace. Leo Hart never returned to quiet life. He created the Stellar Archive, a giant database that held every known truth about the Council's betrayal, humanity's rise, and the first steps toward peace. His favorite quote was simple: "If we hide the past, we repeat it." The Stellar Archive was accessed millions of times a day. It was translated into 38 languages. Even hostile species used it to learn what not to become. And so, knowledge became Earth's most powerful gift. But not all was perfect. In the shadows of the stars, new threats began to stir. Unknown fleets moved silently in distant sectors. A strange signal had been detected on the edge of the void. Some said it was just noise. Others whispered, "Something is coming." But the galaxy was no longer alone. It had Earth now. And Earth had changed the rules. The Unity Accord created a peace fleet. It was not made to attack, but to protect. Every ship was crewed by mixed species, and humans served not as commanders, but as mentors. The flagship was named Remembrance. Its captain, Zara Yuan's younger sister, Meg Yuan, a symbol of the new generation. When asked how she felt leading a fleet with aliens who once feared her people, she smiled and said, "Fear fades when you fly together." One day, a mysterious ship entered Accord space. It had no flag, no signal, no crew. just a message carved into its black metal hull. We watched you rise. The Accord Council called an emergency meeting. Marcus was pulled out of retirement. Leo was asked to decode the ship. Zara flew back from a peace summit. Something bigger was coming, and the galaxy would face it together. And so, Earth's legacy lived on. Not in fire, not in war, but in unity. The planet once called dangerous, wild, even backward, had become the heart of a new order. No longer feared, now respected, and more than anything, trusted. In a quiet classroom on a world called Tilvar, a young alien child raised her hand. Teacher who saved the galaxy. The teacher, a human from New York, smiled and replied, "We all did, but it started with Earth saying no to being silent." The child nodded, then whispered the word that now meant strength, truth, and hope in 1,000 tongues. Human. Final scene. In orbit around a newborn star, a new monument floated silently in space. It had no weapons, no flags, just a shining metal wall with words written in every known language. Here stood a planet once betrayed, but it rose. It remembered, it forgave, and it lit the stars. Beside the monument, the Earth fleet remained silent, watching, guarding, because the price of peace was never forgetting.